Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of UA Eats. I'm UA. We're still in London. This is our last day in London, our final day here. This is going to be our final meal and our final review here. And you know, we ate lots of steak back in our home base of the channel in New York. New York being a town that's really known for great steaks, and London pretty good too. I mean, right before we left for this trip, we ate at Hawksmoor and we enjoyed it, albeit the New York location. However, before leaving, you know I couldn't leave without trying a steakhouse here in London, and what I decided to settle on is, after eating some super expensive and posh restaurants, we decided to ironically control our budget a little with a cheaper meal with a steakhouse. You heard that correctly. We chose steak for an affordable meal. I know, right? Back in the US, back in America, steak is like a splurge meal. And while that definitely can be the case here in the UK, here in London, London actually has a lot of super affordable steakhouses. And one of the biggest chains is Flatiron, selling no surprise, a Flatiron steak for £14. Now, it's a Flatiron steak, so it's not gonna be the best cut, of course. It's not exactly gonna be filet mignon or ribeye, but that being said, steak for 15, 16 bucks in America is like impossible. You can't even get a steak of that price at like Applebee's or Sizzlers or something. Flatiron steak or ribeye, whatever. I mean, that's just an unheard of price, at least for a Yankee such as myself. So, gonna take advantage and see how this affordable steak is here in the UK. I presume that you sort of get what you pay for, but you know, gonna keep an open mind and be fair and try to be objective. In addition to their steak and sides, just showing you the cocktails real quick. £8 each, so about 10 bucks, I guess, for some of these drinks. I don't really drink much, but just want to show you all their cocktails and wine selections, as I always do. Already showed you the crazy cheap steak, of course, but then their sides all look pretty good. Homemade beef dripping chips. You know, we had some of those beef dripping or beef taro fries, I believe, at Hawksmoor. I hear good things about this garlic mash, and Tina really wanted to try the mac and cheese, so we'll just go with a few sides, why don't we? And they also have some other items such as cheeseburgers and the like, and some other beers and ciders on the right, but I think we're ready to order. Relatively straightforward. Let's just zero in on that steak and pick a few sides, so let's order. What sides would you say most people like?
Ooh, my personal favorite, the mashed potatoes, the mac and cheese, and the canned spinach.
Oh, okay.
All of those three are absolutely amazing. Very nice.
We'll just do, you're also going to do the Flatiron steak?
Yes.
So we'll just do 2 Flatiron steaks.
How would you like that cooked?
Medium rare.
I want medium. So 1 medium rare and 1 medium. And then for your sides? Mac and cheese.
And garlic mash.
Any sauces?
Oh, it's an extra one. It's an extra pound each.
Yeah.
No thanks. Do you want sauce?
Food restrictions?
Shellfish. You know, one thing I really like about the UK so far is that. Oh, is this medium? Oh, medium is her. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Medium rare?
Yes, thank you.
Crispy bone marrow mash?
Thank you. Wow, I got interrupted like pretty much mid-sentence. The food came really fast. I mean, I think that was like 2 minutes. But what I just wanted to say is that for someone like myself who has a shellfish allergy, and Tina is not allergic, but she's sensitive to pork. What I like about the UK as opposed to the US is that they always ask you, do you have any allergies? So you don't have to like, you know, flag them down and make sure they know that in advance. So I really appreciate that, as opposed to our next destination, China, where, you know, you might tell them and they might not actually care, but we'll see. Anyways, this is our meal, and this steak was only 14 pounds. So the steak was 14 pounds, and the sides were about 4 to 5 bucks. So let's just say like maybe like 5 bucks each, or 5 pounds each, sorry. So this whole steak meal plus 2 sides was about like less than $30 in USD. So honestly, guys, this price is pretty much impossible back home. And this is our Flatiron steak. Okay, you know, not the best steak I've ever seen, but gotta set expectations. You do get what you pay for. Looks like this sear is better in some spots than other spots. What's ironic is that this actually kind of looks a lot like the steak that I got at Salt Bay's Steakhouse in New York City, and that was like a $100 steak. So funny that here in the UK you get a similar quality, but for not 100 bucks. I believe this is mashed potatoes, a garlic mash with short rib, I believe. and a truffle mac and cheese. Now these sides were a little bit on the pricier end. I think these were 4 to 6 pounds. So, you know, about like $6 to $7, I would say. So maybe not the cheapest sides, although we are in a steakhouse. But I'm just surprised that the meat is so affordable. Maybe beef is just cheap in the UK as opposed to back home. I don't know what's going on here. Even corned beef sandwiches here called salt beef sandwiches. I wish I had time to review it this time, but it'll have to be next trip. Even those are really affordable, like 12 to 15 pounds, not like $30 like back home. Let's dig in though. Let's not let this get too cold. I mean, this one doesn't really have any sear, so I know it's not gonna be that great. Let's just go after one of the ones in the middle that have a better sear. It's okay, I get it. It's a big piece of meat. Might not be the most even. And I like this knife that they give you, like a little mini cleaver, you know? This is almost like preparing us for our China trip. In China, they often cook exclusively with a big cleaver rather than having a bunch of knives like chef knives and paring knives and things. So they have the right idea down here. As long as it's functional and heavy, it'll cut anything. Look at that. The easiest time I've had slicing a steak while holding a camera on this whole channel due to this cutting device. I feel like, you know, I asked for medium rare. This might be more medium than medium rare, but it's okay. We'll give it a chance. Bite number 1. Okay. I mean, not exactly Hawksmoor. Obviously, you get what you pay for. I mean, while you have some parts of it that do have sear, it's not quite a very hard sear. Like, it's not super crispy, so even though it looks seared, the whole steak is actually rather rubbery. Like, if you poke it, like, it's rather soft all around. Not much crispy caramelization on the outsides. But it is juicy. It's very juicy, not too marbled, not too much marbling, not too much fatty flavor. The fat, I think, is mostly coming externally from the butter. What I do like about it is it's very soft, very tender, and yeah, I mean, not really giving your jaw much of a workout here. So obviously, I mean, you're only paying 14 pounds. You can't expect too much, but you are getting a really soft steak at least, and really, really buttery at least. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's acceptable. Like I said, it is what it is. The shortfalls are what they are. You can't exactly expect this to be like a perfectly seared ribeye steak from like Gallagher Steakhouse for only $16. At least it's juicy though, and at least it's tender. So I declined the sauces, the steak sauces, but I think actually having steak sauce may have been wise to escalate this more, or not escalate, to improve this more. Like any lacking in marbling or dry aged flavor or anything like that, seasoning even maybe could have been made up for with steak sauce. But Tina actually shared something insightful. She said that this is actually salt and pepper, so potentially this will help to lift the steak. There you go. Oh wow. It's freshly grinding it. Okay, I may have overdone it a little bit. You know, I was having so much fun spinning the handle. I was bemoaning the lack of a black pepper crust, but now I might have went too far with too much black pepper externally. Finishing salt and pepper. Okay, hack off another piece with my cleaver of death, and let's try some with pepper. Okay, so the pepper definitely helps. It did sort of help. It did kind of add more spice and kind of add some complexity to the flavor, but I think I slightly overdid it spinning this thing too much. Like, I think I added a little bit too much pepper, and it's a little bit too in my face now, so yeah, don't go too crazy like I did. Just add a little bit. Let's try some of the sides. Let's try the mashed potatoes next. Although first, let's snack on some of the popcorn that comes complimentary. Grab some popcorn. I usually eat the popcorn a few at a time.
You don't want any sides? Any other allergies?
It's just ordinary popcorn, but they do have a slight beef aftertaste, like a beefy flavor, and I think they are cooked in beef drippings or tallow as well. So yeah, actually the popcorn's not bad. I wish they had this at AMC. But let's try our two sides. Tina's already gotten started on the mac and cheese. So let's try some of the mash, the garlic mash. Ooh, look at that. Look at that liquidy fat on the inside. Okay, actually, correction, not short rib. I think this is bone marrow mash. Now I see why their sides are expensive, because they have expensive ingredients in them. That might have been one of the best mashed potato dishes I've ever had at any restaurant. I mean, just look. Like, it's not like they just add like a tiny bit of bone marrow for, you know, subtle flavor and then they can upcharge you. It's just chock full of like some beef fat and oil, chock full of real bone marrow, like fat or juice you might call it, and the crispy bits on top, kind of like tempura flakes, like if you like eating Japanese food, like some Hawaiian poke bowls, which are Japanese food influenced, or like onigiri rice balls will have tempura flakes sometimes, and they kind of add some pleasant like crispy bits to the buttery mashed potatoes, the buttery and fatty beef marrow fat. The crunchiness at the top just kind of like helps to offset all that crazy good buttery oiliness. So it's not too rich, it's not overboard, but don't get me wrong though, this is definitely still pretty decadent. I mean, it's gonna be very rich despite any attempts to offset it, so just enjoy it for what it is. Lastly, Tina already ate almost half of it, but the truffle mac and cheese, which Tina said, she said, warning, it's very addicting. Oh man. Look at this mac and cheese. A $7 mac and cheese. It better be worth its weight in gold. Saw some nice cheese stretch. See some nice crispy breadcrumbs baked on top and some spices throughout it. So even if the truffle flavor is not super strong, which tends to be the case with these truffle dishes, it's already looking promising. There is truffle flavor, although there's also like a white cheddar flavor, so they kind of blend together and go together well. So neither the white cheddar nor the truffle gets overpowered. But besides that, everything else I said, like just how good it looks, it really tastes exactly the way it looks. You know, it's crispy on top, but like a not too thick layer. It's not like you're eating like a bowl of cornflakes with some cheese thrown in. The inside is more so stretchy than gooey. I love me a gooey mac and cheese, but I also like this like sort of like gooey, but in like a cheese stretch way, if that makes sense. I don't know if that is a good way to explain it, but just take my word for it. Like you can taste like a blend of cheeses on the inside. Noodles are cooked to like a good al dente, so there's like a slight firmness to the noodles as well. Guys, take it from me. The star of the show at this place are the sides. Steak is okay, but the sides are incredible. But I think it's time for us to wrap up this review. I was really craving steak, as I often do. I think I crave steak like once a week. But I was craving steak and I didn't want to leave London before eating steak, especially because it might be in more short supply when Tina and I go to Beijing to visit some relatives. But at this place, I came to this place Flatiron with a combination of tempered expectations, but also solid expectations, I think. Mostly because it's only 14 pounds, so I know you shouldn't expect too much. But the reviews were so good, I just wanted to see, I guess, if it actually was good or if it mostly was people just liked it because it was cheap. And let me tell you, the steak, yeah, you know, it's not gonna be the best steak you've ever had. It's probably not even gonna be one of the better steaks you've had. But it's 14 pounds, I mean, you get what you pay for, you can't expect too much, and all things considered, the portion is actually decent for what you pay, I think. But the two sides, you could serve these two sides at any restaurant, anywhere, and they would be a hit. And honestly, come to this place, order a steak so that you have a main course and you have some protein to get you through a meal, but make sure you order plenty of room for sides. In fact, I almost wish that we just got one steak to share and then we got 3 sides, maybe added like a cream spinach, because the sides here are where it's at, guys. It's kind of like Boston Market. You guys remember Boston Market? Are they still around? Most people don't actually like the chicken that much. It's all about that mac and cheese and the mashed potatoes, right? But anyways, guys, I think that's gonna be it for this video. My verdict is Flatiron steak. Overall, really, really good value, and the sides are fantastic. But what do you think of Flatiron? If you've been to Flatiron Steak before, either you're based in London or you've been as a tourist or something, let me know in the comments because great minds eat alike. And as always, if you like my videos, make sure you like and subscribe. That way you stay up to date whenever I post another video. This mac and cheese is addicting, so gonna mop this up before my flight to China. So until next time, I'll see you later.